a lady. I got a lady. I got a lady. Hey. I got a lady. I got a lady. Hey. Name is the upper echelon. She a debater. Baby. She can give it to you straight, no chaser. She got the smarts. She got the heart. She got the heart. She got the confidence. Baby. Baby, she the upper echelon. You know you intimidated. Stupid can't play with smart. She got the smart. She got the smart. She got the heart. She got the heart. She got the confidence. Baby, she the upper echelon. You know you intimidated. Stupid can't play with smart. 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 Stupid can't play with smart.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome in, you guys. Welcome in. Happy Friday. Make sure that you hit the like button on your way in, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Welcome in, Queen Sag, Sadie T. Smith, Nina Edwards, Arlene, Sida White, Danny, what's going on? Lynette, Brandy Gibson, Yamika, Cheryl Wagner, Rozzy Ozzy, Jackie, Mabel, Barbara, Deborah, Karen Young, down south. Good, Robin Locks. Good morning, y'all. Let's get into a couple of topics. Just to let y'all know, be prepared to be sick of me, okay? Because I am going to be live all weekend, discussing the different aspects of this story. And if anything pops up, any news, any controversy, I will be covering it. Okay, so be prepared to be sick of me. Hey, Queen Unique, Rewa, Lux Pearl, Raw, and Unbiased. What's going on? Hey, Gigi, Veronica, Kimberly Merrills, Love, welcome in. So today, this morning, we're going to be discussing the interview that Ewing did, if you want to call it an interview, because Carlos didn't really say much, but Tina Ewing did interview, or I'll say she spoke with Carlos yesterday around 9 p.m. Central Time on Fox 32, and kind of got a little bit of his take on the situation. So we're going to talk about what he said during that encounter, and then after that, we're going to have a little discussion about first-degree unaliving versus second-degree unaliving. We're going to talk about what Holly did based on the facts that we have really considered first degree, or is it possible that it could be dropped down to a lesser charge of second degree? We're going to talk about that. I'm also going to go over a couple of things that a really popular CCL instructor from Chicago named Mike. I think that he's really cool. I like his content. I've been following him for years, and he is now covering the story and giving his opinion. And I consider him to be an expert on gun safety, gun laws. He has a really extensive experience with the court system. He used to be a criminal justice professor. So he has a lot of knowledge on the subject. So I don't agree with everything that he says, but I do want to get into some of his opinion on the topic. Okay, so let's get into it, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump right on in. Also, if you would like to donate to my channel, it would be greatly appreciated. My Cash App is at the bottom of the screen, so feel free if you would like. And then also, I do have a goal set today. Okay, so let me pull up. Let's see. What do I want to do first? Let's do Tia. Good morning, everybody coming in. Hey, A. Stokes, Lasonder, Mimi, Lametrius, K. Monet. Did I say hey to Lux Pearl? If I didn't, hey boo. Hey girlie with no apologies. Okay, so let's get into it, y'all. Let's go down here. Did she take it off her page? You know what? I think she might have. That's okay. I know where to find it at. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. get it off of YouTube. Okay, I thought that Tia had put it on her page, but I guess not. Stream updates.
If you think your child,
and you know what? Hold on, you guys. Let me try to find this interview. Tia here, but I don't think this is. I watched it yesterday. Hold on, let me. This might be it here. That's weird. I don't see it. Oh, here it is right here. I found it, y'all. Hold on. Give me a moment. Okay, let me pull this up. I'm not logged into my normal account, so that's the issue. Okay, so I had to pull it up from YouTube, which is fine. Okay, so we're going to go over what Carlos said, my take on that. So let's get into it.
Of a fatal gun.
Carlos Smith, children with 2 women, and now one of them is charged with murdering the other.
Tia Ewing has been following the story from the very beginning, and she has the latest.
A lot of details came out in court, the hearing of Quadasia Johnson, including the fact that this was the first time when the shooting unfolded that she allegedly laid eyes on Romeca Blackman. We know that she and Romeca Blackman, they both have children by the same man. And for the very first time, we are hearing from Carlos Smith. He was the man on the scene when this tragic shooting unfolded. So a lot of information came out in court today. Witnesses saying what they saw, but you were there. What's your reaction to her came out in court today?
When I heard it, I'm just looking, you know, it was unbelievable, but I was there. And I know for a fact none of that happened, how they just explained it. But my truth will get out here, and I hope everybody understand. That's really it. I can't even say too much right now. You know, because it's just going to feel like I'm going against them, they going against me, we just going back and forth. But the truth is going to come out.
Well, let's walk through this. So on September 8th, investigators say Johnson and
now that's all he said last night. The only thing that I'm confused about is what exactly is your truth? Your truth getting out there he said my truth is going to get out there. Your truth getting out there means nothing. They're looking at surveillance video. They're taking into consideration the witness statements. They're corroborating the witness statements with the surveillance video. It's all about the facts, and it's all about real evidence. Nobody cares about your truth because you're obviously going to speak in defense of Holly, whatever that means. You're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that Holly is exonerated. So you are biased. So your truth means nothing. Now, he went live last night, and I watched it. In my opinion, I think that he has a very cocky, nasty disposition. He didn't want anybody asking him any questions. He was getting an attitude with the chat. He didn't really say much of anything, but I'm really wondering like what his motive is. I'm wondering what his motive is. You're going live. You know that you're in the middle of this big controversy that's going on online. You know that you're in the middle of a whole situation where one of your baby mothers is unalived. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me see something. Okay, sorry. So I was hoping that hold on one second. Let me thank you, ASOS. Appreciate that super stick. I was responding to a text message. I'm sorry, y'all. The passion those witnesses had, coupled with them not knowing them at all, like why would they just walk up and start lying? Because they're not lying. They're telling the truth. A lot of content creators are putting a lot of emphasis on going back and forth on this witness said this witness statement didn't match that. From their perspectives, the witness statements might be a little bit different. However, the fact that the courts have not dismissed certain witnesses and they're working with certain witnesses shows that the courts see these witnesses as being credible. Okay, regardless of what we think. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second, okay? Bad, y'all. I had to take that call. So let me get back to what I was saying. I was talking about Carlos. Okay, so I really feel like Carlos is coming off cocky. He's coming off like he doesn't really care. I don't know if y'all saw his live stream last night, but he ended up deleting it. During the live stream, he was talking with David Brown. He let a couple of people come up during his live stream. They were asking him a lot of questions that I felt were pretty important. One of the questions that somebody came up and asked was, as a man who is obviously in good physical health, you're a personal trainer, you're huge compared to those young ladies. How were you not able to stop that confrontation? That was one of the questions they asked. Another question that they asked was, do you think that Holly shooting her so many times was appropriate? I'm talking about, it was one lady that got up there and she was really laying it on him and he was not able to answer any questions. Now, I understand him not being able to answer questions and talk. However, it's always a reason for everything. And I can't help but wonder why he waited until Holly was locked up to start going live. I don't know. I feel like he just went live to try to look cute because he wasn't answering any questions. One of the things that he was doing was he was going out of his way to try to demonize Romeca. I want everybody to understand, not only him, but also Holly supporters. Y'all trying to demonize Romeca and pointing out every little thing that she did throughout her life in the past is not going to exonerate Holly. As human beings, we've all done things that we're not proud of. As human beings, we've all had arguments. We've all have had blown out disagreements, fights, arguments with our significant others. That is not an excuse to murder someone. That is not going to get her off with first degree murder. So because even if that were true, that she has a volatile personality, that her and Holly went back and forth, that her and Carlos had disagreements, that Carlos tore her house up and she tore his car up, that still is not going to get Holly off of what she's been charged with. People keep saying, well, that matters. It matters. The court's going to bring it up. The court may bring up any disagreements that Holly and Romeca had, what Holly's response was to Romeca, what Romeca's response was to Holly, and it may go into a little bit of the history between Carlos and Romeca just to determine the dynamic between their relationship, to see what Holly's motive could have been. So I understand some things they're going to look at, but what is the purpose of him constantly coming online trying to victimize himself? I just want him to understand that by him doing that, he's not helping Holly at all. At all. Nobody cares. There's not one single person walking on the face of the earth that can say that they have not had moments in their life where they responded in a way that they're not proud of. If somebody pulled out a camera and recorded me every time I went ham, or every time I argued with somebody, or every time I said something that I shouldn't have said, or said something that I didn't mean, it'll be videos all over the place of all of us. So what? So what? Those few videos and those few instances that happened in her life is not a testament as to who she is as a person, and is not an excuse for murder. So he can go live and talk about all of the things. And I think somebody said, oh, no. So nobody actually asked him. What he said during the live stream that he did last night is, do you want to know why? You want to know why I tore her house up like that? He was like, you want to know why I tore her house up like that? I'll tell you why I tore her house up like that. Because she tore up my car, busted out all my windows, and sliced all my tires. And then it was like, oh, awkward silence. Okay. Okay, y'all had a toxic relationship. What the hell do that got to do with why Holly shot her 2 times and tried to shoot her more? I played Tia Ewing last night, and Tia said, this is very important. I don't know if people understand how important this is, especially when it comes to first-degree murder versus second-degree murder. The fact that the witness said, and the cameras corroborated the witness statement by saying that Holly shot Romeca, and then after the first shot, she paused and then advanced towards Romeca and shot again, and then shot again, and then tried to shoot again. Do you realize that that is not second-degree murder? Do you all realize that that is not self-defense? The witnesses are saying that she advanced towards Romeca during the shooting, that she shot her once and paused. That pause is very important, and that's why it's mentioned inside of the report. Remember, I should go back. You know what? Now, I'll do that later on tonight, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to review one of my old videos that I did on this, where I spoke about rapid fire versus pauses in between shots. Because when you want to talk about passion, heat of the moment, that's really important. That means that you don't have any time to think. You're not taking a pause. You're not taking a moment to think about what you're doing or what's happening. She shot her and thought about it, and then shot her again, and then walked towards her. That part is even more important than the pause, because now you're not leaving the situation. You're advancing towards the so-called perpetrator. You're walking in her direction while you're shooting to get a better shot. And y'all really think that this girl is going to get off with? I hurt y'all when I tell you these motherfuckers, they make my head hurt. That's why I'm constantly going live talking about this, because it is astonishing to me. I have heard people say that she is going to get off with nothing, scot-free, nothing. I just don't understand. I'm not going to go. I went over Tia Ewing last night. If y'all want to hear the court documents that she reviewed, then go to my live that I did last night to hear me break those down. But what I want to get on to next is, and I just want to make sure that I make that very clear and point that out. There's nothing that says self-defense or second-degree murder when you are shooting someone and walking towards them. The purpose of self-defense or shooting someone in self-defense is because you have to, not because you want to. So you're not trying to get closer to them to make sure that they die. You're not trying to get closer to them to make sure that the bullets hit. What you're doing in that situation is you're trying to get away from them. You're shooting them. You're shooting them, and then once they fall, you leave in retreat. You don't shoot them once, pause, advance towards them, and keep shooting again and again. So this is what the witness statements are saying. This is what the witnesses are saying. Not only that, but when you all hear people trying to discredit the witness, let that shit go through one ear and out the other, because it's bullshit. When you hear these folks discrediting the witness, understand that it's bullshit. Because like I told y'all last night, the witness statements are not standing alone in court. The witness statements have to have been backed up by some other type of evidence to show that their statements are credible. So please don't fall for the hype. The witnesses are credible. Period, point blank. Hold on, y'all. Let me close this door. I'm gonna get into the to what Brown Mike said. Before I get into what Mike said, let me go ahead and read some of these comments. Hey, Chandrika. Hey, Ebony Rose. Hey, I'm Chosen. T. Smith said they got to be smoking. Hey, Boo Love. Hey, Lenore. They are trying to justify his actions. I believe that this was an ambush or a setup. I went over that last night. Now, I strongly advise that y'all go to Tia Ewing's page on Facebook, or you can go to my video where I broke down what she read off on Facebook. So when you say ambush, that's exactly what it sounds like. That's exactly what it sounds like. Based off of those documents that Tia read, when she said that Romeca was standing right next to the driver's basically inside of her car, standing up. You know what I mean? Standing up next to the inside of her car. Carlos was right in front of her, and right behind Carlos was Holly. Now, just that scene alone lets us know that Holly was engaging in this confrontation. She was not afraid. She was not trying to leave. She was advancing towards Romeca. The witness statement and the camera from the CTA bus picked up Carlos pushing Holly away from Romeca. Y'all need to stop. The girl was not afraid of Romeca. Y'all gotta stop it with that narrative. She was not afraid of Romeca. She advanced towards Romeca more than one time, picked up on camera. You can't lie. The court documents are not gonna lie. So this woman the journalist literally sat on Facebook Live and read off the court documents. And y'all still sitting here trying to say that this girl was afraid of Romeca when she advanced towards her more than one time. She engaged in conflict more than one time. One of the statements say that Romeca was standing there with her arms folded over her chest. That is not an aggressive stance. That is a stance of, okay, I'm over this shit. She was standing there with her arms folded. While she's standing there with her arms folded, the witness is stating that Carlos was pushing Holly away from her. So that in that particular scene alone shows that she was standing in a non-aggressive manner. Carlos was in between them. And if he had to push Holly away, that means that Holly was refusing to retreat, meaning that she's engaging, she's provoking, she is trying to engage or get Romeca engaged in the altercation. Not only that, But another statement says that at one point in time during the altercation, Romeca got back into her vehicle. Witness statements, not just one, but more than one witness statement, agree that Holly went towards Romeca's car while Romeca was in the car. She went to Romeca's car while she was in there. Whatever she said to Romeca caused Romeca to get back out of the car. And that's when Carlos put her in a headlock. Provocation is what that is called. And that is what is needed for first-degree murder. You are provoking someone to engage in an altercation with you so that you can kill them. That is not self-defense. That's not self-defense. That is, I have a gun. I know I have a gun. You don't have a gun. And if you try me, I'm going to kill you. That's what that says. The audacity of people saying that this girl is innocent is mind-blowing. She's far from innocent. She provoked Romeca. She wanted to kill Romeca. And I'm not going to say allegedly. I'm not saying allegedly either. Because from what the court documents state, it looks like she wanted to kill her. And that's all that's needed for first-degree murder. The incident could have ended with nobody losing their life, but Holly didn't want it to end that way. Let's get into what Brown Mike said. Now, Brown Mike doesn't believe that this is first-degree murder. Now, the reason I'm going to play Brown Mike is because I don't mind playing other perspectives on my channel and taking other perspectives into consideration just as long as it makes a little bit of sense. Now, he speaks with some sense. So I don't mind playing his content and reviewing his content because even though we don't necessarily agree, now what I do agree with is oftentimes prosecutors will overcharge. But understand that when they overcharge, they still cannot overcharge without sufficient enough evidence for that charge. So yeah, they charge her with first-degree murder, even knowing that it's a possibility that she may not get first-degree murder, but they still can't give her first-degree murder as a charge without sufficient evidence. So her having that charge means that she's eligible for the charge. She may not get it. Her attorneys may get it knocked down for her, but the evidence and everything that they have qualifies her to be charged with first-degree murder. Doesn't mean that she'll be convicted of it, no. But from the evidence and some evidence, remember y'all, we haven't seen everything. So some of the evidence we haven't seen, but make no mistakes, she was charged with first-degree murder because the prosecution was able to prove that she should be charged with first-degree murder. Okay? They were able to prove that. Now, when they get in court and the trial begins, if there's a trial, then they may not be able to convict her with it once the defense comes into play. However, she definitely was charged because there's enough evidence. Definitely. So let's get into, let me see. I don't want to get off that. Let me see. Okay, so before I get to his Facebook Live that he did, hey, what's up, Shawnee? Tanya said they coming for him next, mark my word. They may be, as yesterday I said I think he got away with it. But now that I'm really like watching his behavior and really like listening to other commentary, and I'm starting to be convinced that it's a possibility that he may be. And then also, we don't know what Holly is going to say when she gets in. We don't know what she's going to do. She probably going to sing like a damn bird. She going to sing like a canary, probably. You know, who knows what's going to come out. It could come out that this was all planned and that he had her do it, allegedly. I don't know. You never know what turn this case is going to take. So anything is possible. So let's get into what let me see if I can make this a little bit larger. Let's get into what Brown Mike said in his status on Facebook. Again, Brown Mike is a really, really popular concealed to carry instructor. He also has a lot of experience in the legal system, in the court system. He used to be a criminal justice professor. So he's pretty intelligent. He's pretty experienced and knows what he's talking about. So let's get into what he said here. For those asking me, if the state charged her with first-degree unaliving, why that doesn't automatically mean she'll be convicted of first-degree unaliving? So let me break this down in plain language, because Illinois law is very specific on this. Once the state proves the basic elements of first-degree unaliving, the burden shifts to the defense to prove one of the mitigating factors under second-degree unaliving. Yes, the defense actually does have a burden when they raise self-defense, and that's exactly what her attorney is doing. And honestly, I still don't know how we got the name Holly, but anyway, let's continue. I wonder where that name came from too. It's weird. Two ways first-degree unaliving becomes second-degree unaliving under Illinois law. One of the codes say what must exist is sudden and intense passion. This applies when someone's brain goes into full fight or flight mode. I don't even know what that says. I'm gonna say adrenaline takes over, and they act out of sudden passion caused by serious provocation. This doesn't make the shooting legal. It just means the person wasn't thinking with a clear mind. That matters because this case is not a clean-cut self-defense case and not a clean-cut murder case. Her attorney is right to raise self-defense, but it's a strategy, and I'll explain that in the comments. There's emotion online or text message conflict, unexpected physical confrontation, and a mother suddenly facing someone she'd only argue with online or by text. That's classic sudden passion territory. Now, I'm going to tell y'all why I don't agree with this. Number two, imperfect self-defense. Under this one, the person believes. Now, these are the mitigating factors that must be proven in order to have her charge drop down to first-degree unaliving, okay? So the first one was sudden and intense passion, and then this second code says imperfect self-defense. Under this one, the person believed deadly force was necessary, but the belief was unreasonable, mistaken, or excessive. Again, the act is unlawful, but the mindset is not cold-blooded or calculated. Why this case leans towards second degree. First degree unaliving requires the state to prove intent to kill or to do bodily harm, or knowledge that the act would likely cause death. Now that's what's needed for first degree unaliving. Let's read that again. The intent to kill or do bodily harm is needed for first degree. What's also needed is the knowledge that the act would likely cause death. That part is easy in any shooting death, honestly, too easy. But to keep a first-degree conviction, the state must also overcome the mitigating factors. And this case has issues. Number one, he says, prior tension between the parties that can be proven at least by the presence of an order of protection served upon the victim in court that was granted by default. Number two, emotional escalation. Number three, questions about who approached who. Number four, conflicting witness stories. Number five, impulsive behavior. Number six, no planning. Number seven, no premeditation. A couple of things I want to correct there, okay? Number one, before I move on, premeditation is not needed in the state of Illinois to prove first-degree murder. That is not a factor that must exist in the state of Illinois in order to receive a first-degree murder conviction. And that's just the truth. A lot of people don't know that, but that's true. Then this one right here, no planning. I don't know. That's something that I think is going to probably have to come out in court, because what we don't know is whether or not the detectives were able to obtain phone records, text messages between Holly and Carlos. You never know what may come out in those text messages. If there is a text message anywhere or if they were able to dig up any communication between Holly and Carlos or between Holly and anyone else where Holly says that she is going to kill Romeca, she's cooked. Cooked. If she ever said via text message, electronic communication, social media to anyone, even in a joking fashion, that she's going to shoot Romeca, she's cooked. Cooked. Nothing else matters at that point. Impulsive behavior. This, if you know, and let's not forget, she is fighting the state of Illinois. Okay, she fighting the state. They are gonna tear her ass. They gonna rip her a new asshole. You understand me? They are gonna tear her ass up from the rooter to the tutor. They gonna tear her ass up in there. Ari Williams, she ain't that much of a beast. I'm very familiar with Ari Williams. Now that's her attorney, black lady. She wins a lot of gun cases. I have not seen Ari Williams take on any self-defense case. Well, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I ain't seen her do no self-defense cases. I mean, I just haven't. Now, that doesn't mean that she's no good at it, but I wouldn't say that, you know, I don't know. When it comes to impulsive behavior, I wouldn't say it's impulsive because it was not a spare of the moment situation. They were out there arguing. They had a verbal confrontation that Holly willfully engaged in. Not only that, but she made the statement that she's going to go get her gun. It's not like she just grabbed it really quick out the blue and shot her because she didn't have time to think. She took time to walk away from Romeca and Carlos, walk around her vehicle, open the door, grab the gun, and stand there and shoot her. Not only did she shoot her once, but she shot her twice and tried to shoot her 3 times. Not only that, but you can't say that it's impulse because she shot her once and thought about it, according to witness statements and surveillance video. Then she walked towards Romeca and shot her over and over, or tried to shoot her over and over. That doesn't give impulse. That doesn't give sudden. That doesn't give passion. That gives calculated. That gives I thought about it. Okay, so another one is conflicting witness stories. That could be a factor. However, we have to remember that this incident was caught on camera. The incident was caught on camera. However, the witness statements are still important because it's something that maybe the surveillance footage didn't pick up. They probably didn't pick up conversation. They didn't pick up what was said. And that's also very important. So I'll give them that. Let's see. Questions about who approached who. Now, that's going to be a really, really interesting to see them fight about or go the defense fight that in court because we know that Romeca is the one that busted the U-turn and pulled up on Holly and Carlos. But what they're going to have to prove is that Romeca pulled up to fight with Holly. They're going to have to prove that. They're going to have to prove. See, the thing is that Romeca has passed away. She's not here to speak up for herself. She can't give her statement. So it's going to be hard to determine what a deceased person's intent was. She could have pulled up because she saw Carlos. It's very possible that she didn't even see Holly. It's possible that she didn't witness Holly and Carlos together. That's very possible. By the time that mind you, don't forget, throughout the entire incident, the baby was already in the back seat of the car. Witnesses say that Johnson got out of the car, meaning by the time that Romeca pulled around, Holly wasn't out of the car and the baby was already put in the back seat of the car in the car seat. So they were not in the middle of loading up the baby. The baby was already in the car. So by the time that Romeca pulled around the corner, Carlos probably was the only one that she saw. Remember, these two women have never seen each other in public. How many times have you I guarantee if y'all see me in person, y'all would have to look twice to make sure it's me. If I seen y'all in person, I have to look twice because people look different than they look online. I may look one way online, but then you see me in person, you be like, that looks like such and such. But is that her? Is that her? I've done that several times where I've seen somebody that I recognize from online or something like that, but I have to squint. I gotta look. I gotta make sure, is that really them? Because I don't know. So she's never seen this girl in person, never had a physical encounter with her or interaction with her. She doesn't even know what the girl's car looked like. But she saw Carlos' car. She knows what his car looked like because she used to drive it. So for her to bust a U-turn and stop to talk to Carlos, she had every right to do that. We're not going to keep on trying to demonize her for stopping, pulling around the corner and stopping because her baby daddy was over there. She can talk to her baby daddy if she wants to. So when you get to the whole factor of who approached who, witnesses say by the time they got there, Holly was approaching Romeca to the point where Carlos had to push Holly away. Okay, so let's not forget that. And then we get into emotional escalation, and obviously we know that everybody was escalated. So let's move on. All of this cuts against malice. So one of the things that needs to exist for first degree murder is basically malice. You had the intent to murder her. Your intent was to kill her. I know the state is going to tear Holly ass the fuck up, okay? Because you cannot say that you did not have malice to kill Romeca, because not only did you shoot her more than once, you advanced towards her to make sure that she was dead, and you did everything in your power to provoke an altercation with her so that you could shoot her. This is what witnesses are saying. This is what they're saying. You did everything in your power to provoke her. At one point, let's not forget, she was in the vehicle, Romeca. She was in an altercation over with. Everybody could have lived. But no, Holly's slow ass walked up to Romeca's vehicle to provoke her to get out again. This is not second degree murder. That is first degree murder. Of course, we have to wait for, well, all of us, like the content creators, the YouTubers, people on Facebook are saying we have to see the video. We ain't seen the video. But guess who has seen the video? The prosecution. The prosecutor's seen the video. The judge has seen the video. The grand jury saw the video. All of these people seen the video and determined that she should be charged with first degree murder. So who are we to say that she's being overcharged? When everybody that saw the video said, oh, hell no, she needs to be charged with first degree murder. Now, that's still not me saying that she'll be convicted of it, but I definitely think that she was charged with first degree murder for a reason. Let's not act like this is serious. She was definitely charged with that for a reason. Okay, so then Mike goes on to say, now factor in that she left her car. Okay, we're gonna factor this stuff in, okay? Now factor in that she left her car, walked to the vehicle, and retrieved a firearm. As a licensed concealed carrier, she had to be trained in deadly force law. Her instructor, who is reportedly a family member, could be subpoenaed under oath. That person must either, number one, confirm she taught deadly force standards, or number two, admit to perjury for signing the certificate without having taught deadly force standards in Illinois. Woo, shit. Which one do you think the family member is gonna confirm? Facts. That's what I'm saying. I like Mike Wood. I don't agree with everything he say, but this is a smart dude. So listen to what he's saying, y'all. He's saying that in order, basically, the defense is going to try to prove ignorance on Holly's part by saying that she was trained in or she took the classes for her concealed to carry license. However, it's a possibility that the trainer is going to be subpoenaed, and apparently the trainer is a family member, right? And so he's saying that once they get on the stand, what the prosecution is going to ask is, was Holly trained in deadly force standards? Because that is a requirement to receive your concealed to carry. Or they're going to add, so after they ask that question, the instructor is going to either have to say, yes, I did train Holly in concealed to carry. Remember, it's sort of a conflict of interest because the instructor is her family, right? So the first thing that the family member could say is, yes, I did teach her deadly force standards. And we know if she says that, then that is a hit against Holly, because that shows that she was educated on deadly force standards. So that doesn't give her an excuse. But what I also want to say is, even if it does give her an excuse, you guys, ignorance of the law is not a reason, is not going to get you off. Ignorance of the law is not going to get you off of anything. That's actually stated in several law codes, that just because you don't know doesn't mean that you won't be found guilty. For instance, she was shooting in a school zone within 1,000 feet of the school. So if an attorney says, well, she didn't realize that she was within 1,000 feet of the school, do you think that they're going to be lenient on her because she didn't know that? No, it doesn't matter that you don't know. You should know. Knowing the law is your responsibility as a U.S. citizen. As a U.S. citizen, whatever state you live in, you should know the laws of that state, especially if you're a concealed carry holder. So that's not an excuse. However, I could see where Mike is coming from when he said that may be asked. Now, either the instructor is going to confirm that they taught her deadly force standards or admit to perjury for signing the certificate without having taught deadly force standard in Illinois. Which one do you think the family member is going to confirm? I believe the family member is not going to admit to perjury, and they're not going to risk their own livelihood and risk their own license to teach by saying, no, I didn't teach her that, and I falsely signed a certificate so that she can get her concealed. I highly doubt, her family or not, I highly doubt they're going to do that. I just don't think so. I wonder who the family member is. I digress. Either way, the state checks the intent knowledge box for first-degree murder. But again, intent does not equal malice, and malice is what separates 9-1 from 9-2. Okay. Now, I know that it's getting confusing for y'all, so let me say that in layman terms. So basically, it says either way, the state checks intent knowledge box for first-degree murder, but again, intent does not equal malice, and malice is what separates 9-1 from 9-2. So 9-1 is first-degree murder, meaning that you need malice. You had wanted to kill her. Your whole reason for shooting her was to kill her. All of this was happening because you wanted her to die. Or 9-2, which is it wasn't in malice, even though it wasn't in malice. However, you did have a reasonable belief that you were in danger, and so you shot her, even though that belief is unreasonable. Y'all, when I tell y'all, we're gonna get to his video in a minute, but I don't believe that this is second degree at all. Now, he's going to explain in the video why he does believe it's second degree. I don't believe it's second degree at all. Perfect example, Jason Van Dyke. Van Dyke was charged with first degree murder, but the jury convicted him of second degree murder. He believed he was doing the right thing. That belief was unreasonable, and the state couldn't prove malice beyond a reasonable doubt. Here's the bottom line. Let me get y'all opinion on that. Let me get y'all opinion on that. If y'all are wondering, because you guys may not know who Jason Van Dyke is, that's the guy that killed Laquan McDonald, the police officer. Those two cases are extremely different. I don't think that was a good example because Jason Van Dyke and Laquan McDonald don't have history. They weren't going back and forth. They didn't have a beef with each other. This is why I think that it's more than one reason why that was dropped down to second degree. Even though I don't think it was second degree, it's more than one reason why he was able to get second degree. In this case, is very different. These two young ladies have a long history of going back and forth on social media. So here's the bottom line. She acted, the act was unlawful, but the mindset may not reach the level of malice needed for first-degree murder, and that by definition is second-degree murder in the state of Illinois. How do you think this could have been prevented? Okay, and then I'm going to get ready to play his live stream, but I also want to say it's a lot of things we don't know, a lot of evidence that has not been presented yet. So that means that we don't know why Holly was charged in the first place with first-degree murder, because we don't know if we haven't seen the video yet, and we know that that's something that they have seen, right? So obviously something somewhere exists that we don't know about and that we haven't seen. So we as YouTubers, bloggers, we can only speak on what we have seen. We can't speak on what we have not seen. So we also cannot critique the charge that they decided to charge her with, because we haven't seen everything that they have seen. One of those things being the actual video of the shooting. Thank you, Nana Forever, for that super sticker. I appreciate you. Okay, so let's get into what Brown Mike said, y'all. Let's pull this up. And if you're not following him on Facebook, go follow him. Type in Brown Mike and he's going to pop up.
That's not true at all. You clearly see this is one car. There's another car in front of you, a black sedan.
But the thing is, you're saying Romeca could have saw him and turned around to discuss their son. Ain't nothing to discuss. Ain't nothing to discuss. Because here's this. Prosecutors also said an argument between the women erupted within moments. This is what prosecutors said. An argument between the women erupted in moments. What?
And for those of y'all that don't know, Mike was at the hearing yesterday.
You arguing with her about?
Also, keep in mind, I understand what Mike is saying. However, Mike is jumping to conclusion here because he doesn't know who started the argument. He doesn't know who approached who. We do know that Romeca is the one that pulled up, but that would be an assumption. And in court, we can't make assumptions. We can make assumptions on YouTube, but in court, they're not going to make assumptions. They're going to want to know who approached who started the argument. They're going to want to know all of that.
What are you arguing with her about? Come on now, let's be reasonable. She was charged with first-degree murder. Chapter 720, Illinois Compiled Statutes Act 5, Section 9-1. This is not first-degree murder. This is second-degree murder. It's not manslaughter. This is second-degree murder. And I'm going to tell you why it's second-degree murder. Second-degree murder is here we go. Second-degree murder, right? Second-degree murder means you meet the requirements of first-degree murder, except there's mitigation. The mitigation is you thought that what you did was the right thing, but it is not reasonable. Those of you all who've been in my class, you know what.
Let me stop him right there. And I'm going to say this. As much as I believe that what she did was first-degree murder, I do believe that if she has a good attorney, they can get it dropped down to second-degree murder. But let me let him.
I'm talking about reasonable. But I'm going to teach you now. And I know your concealed carry instructor highly did not teach this because they don't have that in any curriculum. Reason, right, reasonable. Reason, right, reasonable. Here we go. What law school did you attend? I'm a criminal justice professor. I don't expect you to even appreciate that. We teach criminal law. We teach criminal procedure. We teach those things. I don't have to be a lawyer. I only have a master's degree in criminal justice. I've only been a homicide detective.
Talk your shit, Mike.
I've only been a part of the criminal case, not in this particular case. But that's how I know the process so much. I'm not just a curriculum regurgitator. But you don't have to believe me, right? Who am I? I've only been falsely arrested and found not guilty. Oh, after trying my own case.
Talk your shit.
No, not too many concealed carry instructors
His name on Facebook is Brown Mike, like the color brown Mike.
have been in those positions. I've earned my name. And those of you all who know me, I rarely pop my shit. I rarely toot my horn. I'm tooting that shit. Oh, and I'm a force science analyst too. I got a lot of fucking credentials behind my name. Thank you, Shonda. Here we go. This is somebody who's been in my class. Reason, right, reasonable. Reason, right. Go on, show them you paid attention. Show them you paid attention. Reason, right, reasonable. Reason. We all got a reason to do some shit. Right? We all got a reason to do something, right? Right is what the law, both statutory and case law, says you can and can't do. Got it. But then there's reasonable. 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 Reasonableness is not determined by you. Reasonableness is determined by the voters within that county, right? The voters within the specific county where your issue took place. Right? Not the voters where you live, because where you did it and where it took place, two different jurisdictions, right? In that county, would they say that your particular situation was something? Oh, LaShawn, I'm sorry. She said you gave me a ticket to Songville. Okay, all right, you got me. You got me. Here we go. What would they say? Right? Would the citizens in that given county, would they say that what you did was what they would likely do if they were in a given situation? Now, let's answer those questions. Here we go. You said, and as an author, you personally signed my books for your... Oh, I hope she enjoys them. I got another one I just released. Here we go. 1, was it reasonable for Romeca to then pop up? Sure, she can do it. She's free to do it. She's free to do it. Free to do it. But if there's any evidence that shows that they've had words and they've had hostile actions and things like that, then whether or not she was served with that order of protection, you all have had hostilities before. So what reason is it for you to pop up and pull out to that person except to get into a conflict? Remember, y'all been following the case and I've been watching the comments and what people have been posting. Remember, this case, what did they do? They arrested her. They held her for 48 hours. I'm going to tell you, it doesn't take much to get felony approval on first-degree murder charges in 48
They didn't even hold her for 48 hours. I don't think they held her for 48
hours by Cook County State's Attorney's Felony Review Section in all the 6 districts. All the 6 districts. It don't take more than 48 hours for most murders. Most murders, they can get it just like that, right? But the fact that they held her, released her, let her go, and they needed 4 months, and the grand jury.
Let me stop him right there. So all of that is true. They held her and then they released her. The police cannot continue to hold her if they don't have sufficient evidence. The reason why this case took so long is a lot of different factors. Number 1, the witness statements are not matching. Keep in mind, one of the witnesses is Carlos. He's witness number 1. This case is being compromised because we have people lying. Witness statements are not matching. Number 2, the young lady, Holly, has a concealed to carry license. Okay, so she did not unlawfully have her weapon. Number 3, she says that she has a valid restraining order against Romeca. All due to all of these factors, they had to let her go. They had to further investigate. You have one witness saying this, you have Carlos saying that, You got people saying that she pulled up to one address when they were really at another address. You got all of these different reports coming in from all of these different people. And on top of that, she protected herself before she killed her with an order of protection. So there's several reasons why they couldn't. It is not legal to continue to hold her without the proper evidence showing it's set in stone that she murdered her in malice. They don't have that. They didn't have that at the time. They do now. They do now. You had people playing games with the police.
Had questions.
Thank you, Jonathan.
I already knew. They gonna charge high, but they gonna convict low. You know who else got charged high and they convicted low? Jason Van Dyke. Sign off in the comments if you remember the Jason Van Dyke case. Jason Van Dyke, Chicago police officer, 16 shots in a cover-up, Laquan McDonald. They charged him with first-degree murder. They convicted him on second-degree murder under the same statute that they're likely going to convict Holly of. Likely going to convict Holly of, right? Not George Zimmerman. That's a different scenario. We're not going to go into that. That's Florida. That's a different law.
That's what I said too. Like, I don't know why people keep bringing up George Zimmerman. Florida ain't got a damn thing to do with Illinois.
Oh, it's different. We're talking about Illinois, right? George Zimmerman, he was white. All right, I'm Ariane Williams. What does that mean? Moving on. Right, here we go. We're talking about Jason Van Dyke. Yes, they charged.
Yes, he is a CCW instructor, Nay.
Him with first-degree murder, but they convicted him on second-degree murder. Yes, Toya. I remember you said Toya Hunter. I remember you saying something about that, right? Jason Van Dyke was convicted on second-degree murder, right? Because in his mind, what he did, he thought he did something reasonable. But under the law, his actions were not reasonable. And they convicted him of second-degree murder. Second-degree murder, if you look at circumstances in aggravation, circumstances in mitigation. Aggravation is what works against you. Mitigation is what works for you. Holly does not have any background. She does not have any priors, right? She has nothing to give her the maximum sentence. So if, in fact, she is convicted, she'll get somewhere mid, maybe 6 to 7 years, maybe 8. I don't see her getting convicted on first-degree murder, which is a Class M felony where the minimum is 20 to 60. 20 to 60, and if she was habitual, 60 to life. Right, you got to go to Chapter 730, Illinois Compiled Statutes, Act 5, which is a unified code of corrections. You said yes, background? Okay, I could be wrong. Tell me about the background she has, because it's easy to say yes, she does. I'm not saying she doesn't. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't know who said that in the comments. I do know that she had that. I remember hearing something about her having something going on with a gun case or something like that. But I have to do my research on that because I don't remember exactly what happened. But I remember just yesterday, David Brown, he was on a panel. And he said that the only thing they brought up in court was a retail theft charge and a traffic ticket. But then, you know, we have to be careful when listening to David Brown, or not. I'm not nothing against David Brown, but just let's use our senses here. David Brown is not going to say anything to incriminate Carlos or Holly because Carlos is his friend. So when people say that David Brown is not biased, or you know he's not. Listen, you guys, whatever you want to think, he probably isn't as biased as, you know, others. However, he definitely has a side that he's on. So I think it's ludicrous to say that he's not on the side. He's clearly on the side. But I'm getting off topic. He said that the only thing that was brought up in court was a retail theft charge and a ticket or something. Like, I don't believe that shit, but that's what he said. But it's gonna come out.
Right. What background does she have? What priors does she have? Now, let's discuss this order of protection. Did she go get an order of protection? Let me give you the correct terminology, right? It's not order of protection. An emergency order of protection is what you get when it's domestic involved, right? Somebody you had sex with, somebody you got
She probably got a stalking order.
children with, somebody you're related to by blood or marriage. That is an emergency order of protection. Everybody else, it's an emergency no contact stalking order, right? So was she granted an emergency contact no stalking order? Yes, she was. Was it ever served upon Romeca? No, it was not. So if it was never served upon Romeca, then Romeca does not have knowledge that she was given the stay away order for her to then, having violated that order.
Let me stop it here. A lot of people are still saying that Romeca was served with the order of protection. Romeca was not served with the order of protection. Y'all really need to give it up. You understand? Like, y'all got to stop it. Like, when a fact is presented within this case, just accept the facts. I saw people yesterday wanting to argue about what Tia Ewing said. Tia is reading a court document. A lot of y'all want so badly for somebody to be innocent that y'all will sit there and literally be delusional and argue with the facts. The fact is that the girl didn't know that she had an order of protection against her. Period, point blank. She wasn't served. Get over it.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, let's just say it's alleged that Holly did plan this. I know she don't have a background, Chanel. I know she don't. Because if she had a background, she probably wouldn't have had a concealed carry license. Duh. Here we go. So, you said yes, it was so.
He's on a
I would have to see that on the sheriff's website. Here we go. You said Tia be lying. They all lying for clout. Got it. Moving on. I don't know. Whatever. But what I'm saying is the paper that she read matches the proffer that I heard. So if in fact she's lying, how do you explain what I heard? You said it was granted by default. I think you're missing the point. May I clocked all this off Tia's live. You said, Mike, I clocked all this off Tia's live. Okay, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Let me hold myself accountable. If I sound like I'm crapping on what you're saying, I apologize. I don't want to do that. I apologize. You may have more information than me. I'm sorry. You said, so you can get your Ford car with the background. Some backgrounds, yes. Most, no. You see what I'm saying? Do you think they'll make Carlos take the stand? They can't make him take the stand. They can't make him take the stand because they don't have anything to hold over him. Mike,
why they can't? I disagree with that, Mike, because why they can't make him take the stand? He's listed on some of the documentation as witness number one. You can subpoena a witness. So I don't know if I agree with that. They definitely could make him take the stand. They definitely can. They can make anybody take the stand. I don't know if I agree with that.
Court's transcripts were obtained and read on live via Zoom.
Not only that, but he gave a statement. So if he gave a statement, they can make him take the stand. I don't agree with that.
When was that? You said the court transcripts were obtained and read on live. It was via Zoom. What do you when? When are we talking? And that's not true. You're saying, yeah, we know Holly's pregnant. I know that much. Okay, I'm responding to your comments now. Carlos is fugly. Well, there are some people who believe he's fine. You said she was served in open court and had a court date via Zoom, 6/18/25. Romeca chose the 7/14 date, and the judge told her if she... All right. You said Tia is biased with this case. I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact. I'm sorry. This is nothing personal against Tia. Nothing personal against Tia at all. But those of you all who know me, you know I've appeared on Fox News nationally, Fox News locally to talk about certain cases. And whenever I deal with Tia, I'll have a wonderful conversation with her and she'll spin it. And it'll be something I said, but there was context behind it. She won't add that context.
So he got a personal problem with Tia. We don't want to hear that shit.
That I had.
Sorry, Mike, but you got a personal issue with her. That ain't got nothing to do with the price of tea in China. We ain't talking about you.
With that thing. So this information that she gave, Explain this.
A white Kia sedan to a school located nearby. The victim was dressed in a light pink outfit. She dropped her 6-year-old son off at school and then drove to where Johnson.
I think I froze up.
And the father of their child.
I'm looking at myself online. I think I froze up. Did I freeze up? Or is it just what I'm seeing on Facebook?
Come on, Mike.
Oh, maybe I did. Just her voice, that don't mean nothing. I change my voice when I talk. I'm not freezing. I'm not frozen. I see it. I change my voice when I talk. When I talk, how many of y'all heard me on my voicemail? Hey, what's going on? Thank you for calling instructor Mike. This is Security Training Concepts. Thank you for security.
Mike be getting off topic.
Was parked on Cermak. Romeca double parked her Kia on Cermak behind the father's Mercedes and got out. While Johnson.
And that's dumb too, because all news anchors change their voice when they talk. If you notice, all news anchors kind of have the same cadence when they deliver the news. They literally go to school to learn to speak in that way. They literally go to school to learn to speak like that as news anchors. It's a specific style that they learn when they're delivering the news. I forgot what it's called, but it's not her being fake. It's that is how she's supposed to speak on the news. She can't go on the news and be like, yeah, but anyway, that motherfucker Romeca. She has to talk like a news anchor. People just come up with the wildest shit.
Outside of her car. Her white Kia sedan to a school located nearby. The victim was dressed in a light pink outfit. She dropped her 6-year-old son off at school and then drove.
And so so we already heard that. Let me help you all understand something about Illinois law and being the aggressor. Okay? Illinois law and being the aggressor. Okay? Hey, what's going on, Miss Scott? How are you? Illinois law and being the aggressor. So I'm going to give you all the statute, because I can read to you a statute off my head, right? Justifications for persons. Okay, so it's 720 Illinois Compiled Statutes Act 5. For those of you all who want to know Illinois law, okay? Chapter 720 Illinois Compiled Statutes Act 5 is the Illinois Criminal Code. And Section 7 is the use of force section, right? 7-1 is use of force in defense of person. 7-2 is defense of property, dwelling. 7-3, I believe, is defense of property, things other than property. And then 7-4 is the aggressor. The justification prescribed in the preceding sections of this article is not available to a person who's attempting to committing or escaping after the commission of a forcible felony, or initially provokes the use of force against himself with the intent to use such force as an excuse to inflict bodily harm upon the assailant. So here's the problem that I'm going to see. Here's the problem that I'm going to see here. I'm curious as to how the state is going to make their case for first-degree murder. Somebody asked me a question about Ari Williams. How many of y'all want me to have a conversation about that? Now, and it's going to be
she's not that great of an Ari Williams is not that great of an attorney. I'm sorry. Now, I know I'm gonna get beat up probably in the comments and shit by people that like, well, not in my comments, but after the live is over, because people try to make it seem like she's like Johnny Cochran or some shit. The lady fights fucking gun cases.
Very fair conversation. I swear, it's gonna be so very fair. It's gonna be so very fair, very, very fair, because I want you all to consider certain things about choosing a lawyer. I'm going to give you a framework to use. Y'all in class, get out your pen and paper, or pencil and paper, or steal your son's crayon and get some paper, right? Problem, industry, culture, language, outcomes. Problem, industry.
Beth said Tia has picked a side. She's supposed to keep her opinions to herself. She called that man a loser. He is a fucking loser. He is a loser. That's documented that he's a loser. He's a woman abuser. We got pictures of Romeca with huge black eyes. We know that he tore up her apartment, the same apartment that his own son lived in. The people at the school have reported, which has been documented, that he has been to the school several times, even weeks before the unaliving, beating on Romeca or attempting to beat on Romeca. School staff said he's been up there several times harassing Romeca. He is a fucking loser. He is definitely a loser. But she's not allowed to give her opinion on air. She didn't give her opinion on air. She gave her opinion on her Facebook page, her personal live stream. She's allowed to do that. She can do that. But she can't sit on air while she's delivering the news and say, yes, this loser Carlos Loso. No, she can't do that, which she has not done. But what she has done is given her opinion on her Facebook page. And to be honest, I don't really think it's an opinion. I'm pretty sure that's a fact. Any man that beats a woman is a loser. Period. He is a loser. A big one.
Culture, language, outcomes. That's what it is. Problem, industry, culture, language, outcomes. Right? Every problem has an industry that it belongs to. Every industry has a culture. Every culture has the language. And then you're looking for the outcomes that they can produce. Ari understands the problem. She's a criminal defense lawyer, right? She's in that industry. I agree with you, Missy. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. She should have gotten Sierra Norris. She should have gotten Sierra Norris. She should have gotten Sierra Norris. Sierra's a beast. See, now here we go. Not every lawyer is going to get every criminal defendant the outcome they want. Sometimes the outcome you get is the outcome that you...
I'm going to try to fast forward past this. I don't care about her attorney right now.
Sure. That they're going to be exposed to. Your lawyer that you use in a criminal case may not be the best lawyer for your civil case. We have not been shown positive relationships in our families. I'm not saying it was right, I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just saying it's what they did. Now, Faith, you're saying 3 times. If you Romeca her kid off at the school, I believe it's NTA, on 22nd, right underneath the overpass, dropped her son off. Then continued eastbound and made that U-turn on the westbound side. When Carlos and Holly was over there, got out of the car and then got into an argument that got physical. Carlos is trying to separate them. He grabs Romeca, trying to hit her or whatever this is alleged. And then Holly, Khadijah, right? She goes to her car.
That's not alleged. That was seen on camera. It was in. You know what? I'm gonna replay what Tia said, because Tia's not just saying it; she's reading it. This is what people are missing. Tia's not just saying what she's thinking; she's literally reading a court document based on what happened in court and what was presented. So no, Carlos definitely did have her in a headlock and was punching her while she was in the headlock.
Grabs the firearm.
And let me say this again, okay? Let me say this again about restraining orders. I said this last night, but I think that there are a lot of people that support Holly that are ignorant to what it takes to obtain a restraining order. Can't fool me though. Can't fool me. Because my job that I do every day and have been doing for years entails me to take my clients to get restraining orders. I have sat there and watched my clients write down full-blown fairy tales about what happened to them, and I can't confirm whether it happened or not, and neither can the judge. But as a precautionary measure, they will issue a restraining order, a TPO, or a no contact order, especially if the person cannot show up to say, hey, well, they're going to give you the TPO off rip. That's a temporary. But then you have to eventually show up to court with the person that you got the TPO against. If that person doesn't show up to court, you do realize that that fairy tale that they wrote on that TPO will be granted. Romeca never came to court. So while people are running around talking about what is factual, and they're only going to talk about the facts is that Romeca never came to court to defend herself. The facts is there has been no evidence or proof shown that in the past Romeca has contacted that girl or indirectly contacted that girl and threatened her in any way. Excuse me, y'all, that's my air fryer. Or indirectly contacted her in any way. It has not been proven. It hasn't been proven. Just because it says on a piece of paper that Romeca contacted Holly's family member and indirectly threatened her through her grandmother does not mean that it's true. Okay? God gave us a brain up here and we got to use it, y'all. We got to use it. It doesn't make it true. Just like when everybody was reading off that initial matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up. Mike, I'm done with you for right now. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up, y'all. Give me a second. Let's see. I got two keyboards here. I keep on getting mixed up. See if I can find it, y'all. Here you go. Damn. Okay, so I can't read the whole thing, so let me just show, because I can't show the whole thing on my screen for some reason. So this is the initial police report. Okay, I'm pulling this up just to give you people an example because folks be acting like they a little slow out here. I don't know what's wrong with people. I don't know if they, I don't know. I wouldn't want a lot of y'all to defend me in court. I really wouldn't, because I would go straight to fucking jail. Because a lot of the excuses that people are giving Holly are absolutely ridiculous. What is factual is that you can definitely lie when you're filling out for a TPO. Your TPO will be granted with those lies if the person does not show to court. Sometimes it'll still be granted with the lies if they do show up to court. We have absolutely no proof that we have any phone records or any text messages or anything printed out, nothing showing as proof that Romeca was actually harassing Holly. Nothing, except for she said so. Now, I pulled this up because this was the initial incident report. This is also a document. In this document, these statements are coming from Carlos and Holly. All of the things that we have found out, because I'm getting ready to play Tia, all of the things that we have discovered that actually happened that day. Let me see what this is. Hold on. Yep. Is nowhere on this report. If you go back to my previous live, and this is why I say, so far, I have, in my reporting of this story, so far, regardless of what anybody says about my content, I have not been wrong yet. I haven't been wrong yet. I told y'all that previously that this initial incident report means nothing. I told y'all that this is called an initial report for a reason, because this report is literally drafted up before the more evidence is acquired. I also told y'all in my previous live stream that this initial police report, what it says is going to be drastically different. What comes out later is going to be drastically different than what this says, because this is what was drafted up before real evidence occurred. Everything in this report is a lie. And guess who gave the report? Holly and Carlos. So what make you think that Holly won't lie on a TPO? So you mean to tell me that you people that support Holly are so dense and one-dimensional and dumb enough to believe that because something is on a piece of paper that it makes it true? It doesn't even make it legally true. Just because something is on paper does not make it true. It just makes it documented. And people document lies every day. Don't be dumb. Thank God that there are very high qualifications in order to become an attorney and a judge. Because if I had to deal with some of y'all in the court of law, we would be in fucking trouble. We really would. And some people are just plain dense and dumb because they want Holly to be innocent. So they know that some things are questionable, but they're not going to question it because they just want her to be innocent. So even though common sense says that just because it says that on paper, we see where we see who the source is. The source is never, if the shooter is never going to incriminate themselves. So obviously this police report came from the statement of the shooter. So of course it's going to be in her favor. But people was reading this shit off like it was law. Dumb. Dumb. In the event that Holly possibly was planning to unalive Romeca, and again, I say in the event because it is a possibility, not a fact, but it's possible. And in my opinion, it's probable. But in the event that she was planning to unalive Romeca, is it not possible that she went to obtain a TPO and wrote lies on the TPO so that she can have a reason to later kill Romeca and get away with it? Do y'all not think that that's possible? Because if y'all don't think that's possible, I'm going to start questioning a lot of people's intelligence around here. Especially when you look at the timeline of the TPO. She literally got a TPO in December of 2024. Romeca ends up dead in September of 2025. She gets a CCL in June of 2025. Let's talk about the order of events. TPO in December of 2024, concealed to carry license in June of 2025, dead in September of 2025. Do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. I said for moving forward, I'm just going to focus on my content. But I'm definitely not going to argue with people that are pretending to not see things because they want somebody to be innocent. Okay? I don't do well with dummies. I don't do well with dumb shit. Especially people that play dumb. Don't play dumb. You know damn well that shit don't look right. So I'm not even going to get into this. I just wanted to show that as an example. But you know, I'm done with Mike. What I want to do though is, you know, I don't like that. Like, please do not insult my intelligence. We all know that people can document a lie. Okay, we know that now. So let's be for real here. Let me pull this down and let me go to now, I mean, I played this yesterday, but I'm gonna play it again. Hell, shit, why not? I'm gonna play it again because, wait a second. I'm gonna play it again. This is more important than anything because Tia is literally reading off the document. Now, I broke this down yesterday. I'm gonna try not to break it down again, y'all. But this is remember, a court document, and I want you guys, before I end this live, to listen to everything that she's saying very carefully.
Let's see if I can get this to connect. I might end up at the next one. Here we go. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hold on one second while you guys come on in. All right. welcome on in. I'll wait till you guys kind of file on in, and then I'm going to actually read you the allegations that essentially the state has against against Quadasia Johnson in the alleged killing of Romeca Blackman. And I think it's important to read this. It also helps me be able to tell my story. There's a lot of sad information coming out of this. I mean, now that I've had time to sit back and actually read this, if you watched my live earlier, that live was okay, but these are actually concrete facts that I've had a chance to digest that I did not know prior to that live. So give me a second. Okay, so I'll start out with this document first. And we're going to get to all of that. And I may not answer your questions because for the sake of timing, I do have to write something for the 4 o'clock show. But okay, so in this case, DMV, victim being Romeca, D being Johnson. So I'll just alternate the names. So Quadasia Johnson and Romeca Blackman each have a child with witness 1 in this case. All 3 parties got into a dispute near a school. Johnson and Blackman multiple times in front of witnesses.
I'll break it down again. I'm just going to stop it every time Johnson incriminates. Johnson threatened Romeca several times in front of witnesses. Go ahead.
Johnson then retrieved a handgun, shot Blackman multiple times in front of witnesses. This is according to the Cook County. This was filed for the murder charge, the first-degree murder charge.
This was filed for the first-degree murder charge. Go ahead.
So again, Johnson threatened Blackman multiple times in front of witnesses. Johnson then retrieved a handgun, shot Blackman multiple times in front of witnesses, and then we know, sadly,
threatened her multiple times in front of witnesses. The heat of the moment in passion, dismissed. It wasn't heat of the moment in passion. It was calculated and planned. Calculated and planned. She said that she threatened her several times before the shooting. Calculated and planned. Not heat of the moment. Not second degree. Go ahead.
Blackman died. Johnson murdered Blackman after Blackman had just dropped her child off at school. Johnson celebrated the murder immediately after. Johnson was undeterred by the presence of witnesses, public setting, broad light near a school and near many children. Multiple civilian calls to 911 before and after the murder. It basically goes on to say that she deserves to be held behind bars because clearly she doesn't care about the harm. And
hold on, I'm trying to eat my breakfast too, y'all, but hold on. So I want y'all to understand that if that is true and that was caught on camera, that they literally gave each other a fist bump after the killing, I want y'all to understand that there is no second degree murder, baby. It's no second degree murder, baby. If you celebrated after the fact, there's no second degree murder, baby. The celebration shows that you meant to do it. You wanted to do it. You was happy you did it. It's not, I made the wrong, it was heat of the moment. I didn't want to have to do this. No. They better hope that fist bump ain't on camera. That's all I'm going to say.
And
that girl going down. She's going down too.
Based on the previous circumstance that happened, nothing would stop her is essentially what it says. Now, this is what the court is alleging. Now, this is a 3-page document of all of the facts from the court. So it says,
keyword, all of the facts. This is a 3-page document of all of the facts as to why first-degree murder is the charge. Murder was a case that they gave me. Okay. Go ahead, Tia.
Witness 1 has a 6-month-old child in common with Johnson, as well as a 6-year-old child in common with Blackman, the victim. In December 2024, the defendant sought a stalking no contact order against the victim, alleging that the victim made verbal threats to the defendant through the defendant's family members. The defendant in this case, let's go back. So in December of 2024, the defendant sought a stalking no contact order against. So that means that Johnson sought that stalking no contact order against Romeca, alleging that Romeca made that verbal threats to her through Johnson's family members. Johnson did not allege that Blackman committed any acts of violence against her. The order of protection was.
Not only did Blackman never actually commit any physical acts against her, she's never seen her in person. Not only that, she's stating even on documentation that she was never actually threatened directly from Romeca. Why the fuck would Romeca call your grandma? Do that make sense to y'all? So you with my baby daddy. So 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna have your number before your grandma number. How the hell did I get your grandma number? So I'm gonna call your grandma to threaten you. I'm gonna call an 85-year-old woman to threaten you because I want your grandma to tell you I threaten you. Can y'all? Oh my God, people are so cool. People believe anything. God, isn't that? Some of y'all got kids. Y'all are supposed to be able to know a lie when you hear one, especially as a parent. Now, why the hell would Romeca call her elderly grandmother to threaten her? Does that make any sense, y'all? Where did she get the grandma number from? You know, old people still have house lines. The old people still got landlines. So I'm going to call the landline to threaten you. Is you stupid? Why would I call your grandmother? That doesn't even make any sense. That's how you could tell that all of it is a lie. She lied. She didn't want to lie all the way and say that Romeca called her. So what she did was she put it on her grandma. Well, I say that you called my grandma and threatened me through her because she didn't want to directly lie and say Romeca called her because she know damn well Romeca didn't call her. So she put it on her grandma.
Granted in July of 2025, but was never served on the victim. I think I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. On September 8th of 2025, just before 8:30 in the morning, witness 1 drove his black Mercedes SUV from his home located on South State Street. So this is the father in all of this, to the location of 20 West Cermak. Johnson was seated in the front passenger seat and the 6-month-old child was in the rear. So the child was present through all of this, Johnson's child, in the removable car seat of the Mercedes. The defendant was dressed.
I'll stop that one more time. Not only because I want to say something, because Tia just said that the baby was in the car seat, in the back seat the whole time, which we already knew. Remember something, y'all. One dimension of the state of Illinois has already decided that Holly is unsafe. One sector of Illinois has already said she's unsafe, and that sector is the child protection sector. CPS done already said this lady is not safe to have custody of her child. They said that before she was ever charged. Please believe that that's going to be brought into court as well. Well, you know, it's been determined that Miss Johnson is not able to have custody of her child because she endangered her child's life in this situation as well. So not only is the prosecution saying that she should be charged with first-degree murder and she is not a citizen that is safe to be amongst other citizens, but DCFS is also saying that this woman is not safe either because she doesn't even have custody of her child. The incident happened September 8th. Her child was removed from her care September 9th. Carry on, though.
A black jacket.
That's definitely going to be taken into consideration. But go ahead, Tia. What you bad at?
That being Johnson with green leggings. The father double parked his Mercedes on Cermak 2 car lengths in front of Johnson's black Chevy Cruze. Johnson and the father of their child then removed their child from the Mercedes and walked towards Johnson's Chevy and loaded the child into Johnson's vehicle. At approximately the same time, the victim drove her white Kia sedan to a school located nearby. The victim was dressed in a light pink outfit. She dropped her 6-year-old son off at school and then drove to where Johnson's Chevy and the father of their child was parked on Cermak. Romeca double parked her Kia on Cermak behind the father's Mercedes and got out, while Johnson stood outside of her car. At this time, witness 2, who does not know any of the parties, so a witness on the street, drove past Romeca, Johnson, and the father, observing that Johnson and Romeca standing in the street arguing, but unable to hear exactly what was being said. This person observed the father standing in between the two ladies with his arms extended, and then observed the Johnson, she's D in this case, the defendant, Johnson away. So witness 2 observed the father push Johnson away.
Father pushed Johnson away. Again, Johnson is the aggressor in this situation, clearly, according to court documents. These are the documents that were used to charge Holly. Shout out to Dr. Doc. Thank you so much, Dr. Doc, for that super chat. He says, showing support, let's get it. Justice for Romeca, period. And we getting there.
From Romeca. While that doesn't make sense, doesn't that, Flan? While Romeca, unarmed, stood stationary with her arms crossed across her chest. Minutes later, another witness on an eastbound bus that drove past saw this argument again between Johnson and Romeca. She observed and bus video captured Romeca.
She observed and bus video captured
and the father standing in the open driver's door area of Romeca's Kia. At this time, this witness was walking east on Cermak, approaching State Street. This witness got off the bus, walked across Cermak, and stood under the CTA Green Line stop near another witness. Those two witnesses also don't know any of the parties involved. They observed the father standing in between the two mothers, Johnson and Romeca. They observed Johnson walked towards the driver's door of the Kia, standing in the threshold of the driver's door with the father standing immediately outside of the driver's door. Johnson was standing on the sidewalk arguing with Romeca. Another witness observed the father strike Romeca by repeatedly.
Thank you, Deborah, for that super sticker.
Swinging the driver's door of the Kia closed on her. Another witness called 911 reported that the father had struck Romeca multiple times with the car door. After her 911 call, Romeca entered her car. After her 911 call, she entered her car. Two witnesses then observed Johnson approach Romeca's car and heard Johnson making threats towards Romeca. Another witness walked closer to the incident at this time. That person observed Romeca exit the Kia, and when she did, observed the father approach Romeca from behind and place her in a chokehold with his right arm while striking her with his left. This is hard to listen to because this is some acts of domestic violence here as well. This witness observed Romeca unarmed with her hands in the air trying to break free from the father's grasp.
One thing that is never reported, not even once, is Carlos trying to stop Holly. That's very important. That's very important. Romeca is being restrained, but according to witness statement and according to camera footage from the CTA bus, Holly approached Romeca. Romeca got in her car, and Holly approached her again to summons her from the vehicle.
A witness heard Johnson make threats to shoot Romeca and heard the father tell Romeca that Johnson had a gun. Johnson then went to her vehicle, was observed by another witness retrieving a handgun and then standing on the sidewalk. The victim was able to break free from the father's hold and took steps away from Johnson as observed by another witness. That witness observed Johnson put her handgun at Romeca, walked toward.
That's what's going to kill her. That's what's going to get her in court. Witnesses are stating that Romeca took steps away from Johnson. Witnesses are stating that Romeca retreated away from Holly, meaning she is not a threat to you, meaning you had no reason to kill her, meaning that your belief that you had to kill her was unreasonable, meaning that I don't believe that you thought you had to kill her. It seems that you wanted to kill her. In order to be charged with second-degree murder, your belief must be unreasonable, but it must still exist. So you must still believe that, or you must still have believed in that moment that you needed to unalive this person. However, the courts decide that that belief is unreasonable. It seems to me that she didn't even believe that she had to do it because there was no threat at that time. Witnesses are stating, and cameras are also corroborating witnesses' statements, saying that Romeca was standing in her car doorway with her arms folded across her chest. Carlos was in the middle of her during the time her arms are folded. While her arms are folded, Carlos is pushing Holly away from Romeca, meaning that Romeca is no threat to Holly with her arms folded. But Holly is a threat to Romeca because in order for Carlos to be pushing her away, she must be advancing towards Romeca. The only person that sounds like the aggressor here is Holly. At what point, when someone is okay, so let's break it down, y'all. Let's start number one. Number one, witnesses state, and not just one witness, but several witnesses plus camera footage confirm that Romeca was standing inside of her vehicle, inside the doorway with her arms folded. Carlos was in between, was in front of Romeca, and then directly behind Carlos was Holly. Holly was advancing towards Romeca, and Carlos was pushing her away. And that's the first instance that she was advancing towards Romeca. Number two, the second incident is when Romeca got into her vehicle after the altercation. She got in her vehicle. Holly advanced towards Romeca's vehicle while she was in the vehicle and prompted her to get out of the vehicle, causing another altercation to ensue. That's the second time that you provoked, agitated, and advanced towards the person that you are claiming is a threat. Number three, she walks to go get her weapon. At this point, Carlos has Romeca in a headlock and is punching her in the face. She ends up breaking free from Carlos. By this time, Holly has already gotten her weapon. Why? This is what the prosecution is going to be wondering. While Romeca was in a headlock, why did you walk to your car to get a gun to shoot someone who was already being restrained? That's a question that needs an answer. Why are you going to your car to retrieve a gun to shoot someone who is already being restrained? And why didn't you take that opportunity while she was being restrained to get into your car and lock the doors? But I digress. So she gets the weapon while Romeca's being punched in the face, walks towards Romeca and shoots Romeca once Romeca breaks free from Carlos's hold. Witnesses say that once Romeca broke free from Carlos, she took steps back away from Holly. Witnesses also say that not only did Romeca take steps back away from Holly, but they say that Holly shot Romeca while she was backing away from her. Not only did she shoot her, but she walked towards her while she was shooting her. Somebody fucking get me. God damn it. Somebody fucking get me on this case. Let me in the damn courtroom. Because they need to hurry up and convict this bitch. Because this was a complete first degree. Y'all done got on my damn seat. This is a complete case, a classic case of first degree. Was it in the heat of the moment? Was it passionate? Did they have history? Yes. However, this wasn't just one altercation. This was one altercation broken into several segments. Within the altercation, there were several opportunities that Holly provoked the victim. Several opportunities where Holly provoked the victim within this situation. This is confirmed by witnesses, and you just heard Miss Ewing say it was also confirmed on camera. There are several instances where in this situation, actually, Romeca tried to retreat. Did Romeca now let me be honest for a minute, right? So even though I am in support of Romeca, I'm going to be honest. Is it a possibility, or is it true that maybe Romeca could have pulled up because maybe she saw Holly? Yes, it's possible. That is possible. However, it's not an excuse to kill her, especially while within the situation, there were several times that have been reported and witnessed that Romeca tried to leave, that she tried to retreat, that she no longer wanted to fight. And in those moments, Holly tried to pull her back into confrontation. That's not second-degree murder, y'all, and it's surely not self-defense. It is surely not self-defense at all. So I'm actually very confused as to why so many people were so shocked and taken aback about why she was arrested. Now, I understand why she wasn't arrested. I wasn't worried about her I knew she was going to go to jail. I just didn't know when. But I think that I'm more amazed and taken aback at how many people actually think that this situation here, even without all of the details, is legal. That blows my mind, and it's very scary that people think that they can shoot someone in an altercation like this. Not in the state of Illinois anyway. Maybe in them southern states where they slinging shotguns and toting pistols, and they got, you know what I'm saying, spitting tobacco and just shooting. This town is only big enough this town ain't big enough for the both of, maybe in that type of fucking state. But in the state of Illinois, we don't get down like that. I'm just saying, we don't get down like that in the state of Illinois. This ain't down south. We're not down south. This is not a stand your ground state. And the laws in Illinois for killing someone in a self-defense claim are very, very specific. Very specific.
Romeca and then fire multiple times at her.
I'm just saying, no shade to the people that live down south, but that's how y'all get down. Y'all be shooting motherfuckers just for, anything. I don't know. You looked at me wrong. The nigga, anything, and get away with it and be getting away with it. But it don't work like that in Chicago, though. You can't do that. You just can't. You cannot shoot some. And basically, if you don't want to go to jail in some cases in Illinois, you just got to get your ass whooped for the most part. Is it right? No, but I mean, it's true. But in this case, that's not what it was. In this case, from what I'm hearing, and we got to stop pretending like we're not seeing and we're not hearing what we're seeing and hearing, okay? Because this is a court document. This is the prosecution explaining why she got the charge that she got. So we have to stop pretending that we're not understanding certain things because we want so desperately for somebody to be innocent, okay? And also bringing up things that don't matter, like the fights that she got into with her baby daddy, who was a scammer, how many times she got caught on camera cussing out her baby daddy. All of these things have nothing to do with September 8th. Nothing at all. It has nothing to do with September 8th, and it has nothing to do with the legality of what happened on that day.
Between the first shot and the subsequent shots. This witness had just turned to walk away when he heard, this is another witness, a gunshot, a pause, followed by 2 more gunshots. He looked toward the direction of the gunshots and observed the defendant holding a black handgun in her right hand. Romeca was struck multiple times and collapsed. Another witness, 2 witnesses moved Romeca's body and moved her slightly west.
They not gonna let Carlos talk to wait. Neo said, let me see the comments real quick. No shade to the people down south. I was just being funny, y'all. Damn, I got a lot of Florida people in here. Okay, so Neil said I'm from Florida, and they didn't pull out the pew pew for any little, and they definitely pull out the pew pews. That's what I'm telling y'all. Down south, they'll shoot you for any. A lot of the people that are in agreement with what Holly did are from down south. Or live down south. I'm just saying. So it's also a cultural thing. You know what I'm saying? It's also very much so a cultural thing too. If you notice, pay attention. A lot of the CCs that are in favor of Holly are from the South, or they live down south if they're not from the South. And then not all of them though, but there are, and then a lot of CCs that are not from the South, we don't have that same mindset. We think that mindset is actually ludicrous. So it's not that what it is that it's a cultural difference there as well. Some things you're just not going to understand or resonate with. And that goes both ways.
I guess she must have fallen into traffic. That person then called 911 and reported that Johnson shot Romeca and observed the father and Johnson fist bump one another afterwards. Officers arrived and observed that Johnson was unresponsive, unarmed, and laying in a pool of blood. On scene and covered in blood, Johnson was also on the scene and had blood on her. So the father had blood on him, Johnson had blood on her. Romeca was transported to the hospital and pronounced dead shortly thereafter. Johnson was positively identified as the shooter. Johnson detained and admitted to the shooting. From her Chevy, officers recovered a loaded 9mm handgun. Evidence techs processed the scene, recovering 3 spent shell casings. Ballistics analysis revealed that all 3 of those spent shell casings were fired from Johnson's firearm recovered from the Chevy.
I want you all to pay attention to that. Ballistics showed that all three bullets were fired from Johnson's gun. I want to ask y'all something. So I know the demographic of the people that are in my chat, so I pretty much know what you guys are going to say. But for the people that are in the bushes, let me ask y'all something. If witnesses are saying that Romeca retreated and that before Romeca was shot, she was taking steps back away from Holly, do you believe that shooting Romeca twice and trying to shoot her a third time while walking towards her was necessary? Don't be scared. Let me know in the chat. For the people that are in support of Holly's actions, do you think it is reasonable to shoot someone several times or twice and then attempt to shoot them again but miss when the person is not advancing towards you or is not a threat? Can you answer that for me? Because I want to get a understanding of where people are coming from. Why do you feel that it's okay to shoot someone who is backing away from you? I just want to know. For the people that are in defense of her actions. And I don't want to hear heat of the moment, because we know that that's not true. Because we know that she shot her and took a pause, according to witnesses, and then started walking towards her and shot her again. So I want to know why you think that's acceptable.
This is crazy. Johnson refused medical attention, was transported to the police station where she claimed self-defense and acknowledged that this was the first time. Listen to this. Please, 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 please. If you don't hear nothing else I say, listen to this. This is insane. And this is why you don't get caught up. And why I made my statement earlier about not getting caught up in no mess. Does anybody know Carlos's last name? You guys keep putting that person in there. Who is Carlos in this case? You guys keep saying it. I want to repeat this last part. I just emailed, because you guys asked about Carlos. I just emailed to find out if he's been charged or will be facing charges. I'll have more to come on that. I want to read this last part again because it's very okay. Johnson refused medical attention and was transported to the police station where she claimed self-defense and acknowledged that this was the first time. So this is all fueled by what? If this is the first time she had ever seen.
Thank you, Mimi, for that super chat. So she's getting ready to get into this being the first time. Mimi said, impeccable insight, Upper. You consistently come through with no disappointment. Thank you so much. She's getting ready to get into the fact that this is the first time that she's ever seen Romeca.
Blackman. So this is all fueled by what? If this is the first time she had ever seen Blackman in person. Johnson did have a valid FOIA card in CCL at the time of the shooting. On background, she had had some other run-ins with the law. One run-in on record. Again, Johnson refused medical attention, was transferred to the police station where she claimed self-defense and acknowledged this was the first time she had ever seen the victim in person. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think that is the most awful thing I've ever heard. So you claim this person has threatened you through people. You've never seen them before in person. And why would you shoot them? Why would you feel emboldened enough to shoot them? That's troubling. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like that's troubling. Very troubling. And I pray that my 3-year-old daughter understands how important it is to love yourself, to not get caught up with no guys that's going to coerce you or influence your mind to do something stupid. And if you see signs of bullcrap, to get out of it. That's my prayer. And men too got to do better. That's horrible. What would be your basis of shooting and killing somebody you ain't never even seen before, and they didn't have a gun? I don't know. All right. I appreciate you guys tuning in. More to come on Fox 32 at 4. I will post the story. I'm about to listen to the sound. Yes, and I mentioned that if you want to go back and watch this later, I mentioned that order of protection at the top of this when I first started this. That is part of this. She said the order of protection was put in place. She ordered for it to be put in place December 2024 because Johnson alleges that Romeca threatened her through Johnson's family members. She never directly threatened her. Keep that in mind. Also went on to say she had never... This was the first time she saw her in person when she pulled the trigger. Just want to put that out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. More stories to come. And, you can formulate your opinions based on what this says. I just try to give the facts. And the facts remain that we need to instill more self-esteem and pride into our women in the world. And clearly there are some failures that went on here. I don't know what exactly. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist, but something went wrong here. And now 3 children that we know of, because I don't know if the father has more children, but we know Romeca has a son that is left behind. Johnson is currently pregnant and had a 6-month-old at the time of this shooting. 3 children are without moms. And possibly we don't know what's going to happen with dad.
Let me tell y'all, right? I'm gonna pull this down. How cocky is it? Because, I recently said that I felt like she was just putting on a show. Sometimes a person can be worried or scared, but they're not going to show you, and they're going to put on a show to make it look like, they're unbothered. And at first, I thought that's what she was doing on her YouTube channel, trying to act unbothered. But no, she wasn't acting. I think she really was unbothered. She let that silly auntie of hers and the content creators that were supporting her actually convince her that she was not going to jail. And the reason I say that is because she set her ass up there instead of taking every precaution possible not to get pregnant. She set her ass up there and was recklessly, having intercourse. I don't want to be graphic. And got pregnant while she's under an open investigation. She for real, like for real, didn't think shit was going to happen to her. I mean, because why would you sit there and get pregnant when you're under investigation for murder? You know what I'm saying? She had to genuinely believe. She had to, y'all. I heard somebody say that she got pregnant on purpose because if she went to jail, she felt like that would keep her out of jail. But I don't believe that. I think that's a little bit too much. I don't believe that. I believe that she really thought that she wasn't going to jail. I'm sorry. She'll be in prison soon. I meant to say jail. She really thought that. Like, she was really convinced. You saw the post that she made on YouTube community wall where she said, and there's going to be plenty more holidays where me and him get dressed alike. And now you sitting up in the jail cell. She let social media and her supporters really convince her that she wasn't going to jail. And this is no shade to anybody. I swear to God, it's not. It's just what I believe. And hopefully my commentary doesn't offend anybody. That's why I really suggest that, like, if you are not in support of Romeca, you probably should. If you can't handle my commentary, I really don't think that you should watch it. That's just period, point blank. I really don't think she understands that, to be honest with you guys, a lot of the people that are in support of Holly and what she did are not completely, they are not versed on the law. That's the best way I can say it. They're not. Because when you have somebody that's speaking on what they morally would have done, oh, nope, I don't have to fight. That's ghetto. Okay, well, that's an opinion. That's not the law. You have to, this is based off of what is legal, not what I would do if it were me. Those are two totally different things, because what I may do if it were me may not be legal. We're not talking about what I would do if it were me. We're not talking about people should be able to defend themselves. People shouldn't have to fight. We're not talking about what people should have to do. We're talking about what the law says in black and white. So I personally believe that Holly got herself confused because she's sitting there listening to people who are in support of her, not realizing that the people that are supporting you, they're not reciting the law. They're reciting what they would do if they were you. They're saying they don't blame you for doing what you did, but they cannot say that what you did was legal, because it was not. Okay? It just wasn't. So I think she let the internet hype her up, most definitely. She definitely let the internet hype her up and convince her that nothing was going to happen to her. I really don't see any other reason why a person would sit there and get pregnant while they're under investigation unless they were almost pretty certain that they were not going to get in trouble. Yeah, she just knew that she wasn't going to jail. And that's unfortunate for her because now I think that after looking at everything, we're pretty sure she's going to be convicted of something, you know, either first degree or second degree. We're pretty sure. So she's going to be away from her baby for a while, and she's going to give birth to her child in prison or jail because she could sit in jail for another year before a conviction. She could be sitting in there for almost 2 years, to be honest with you, because a lot of people think this is going to move fast. This is not going to move fast. This is going to take a long time. It's going to take a really long time. The next court date is December 23rd, but y'all do realize nothing is happening on that court date, right? That's not going to be like any critical decisions being made on December 23rd. On December 23rd, it's going to be what you would call a status hearing. So it's going to be like a status hearing. So basically, they're going to be hearing any discovery that has been submitted from the prosecution, or they're going to be talking about it. You know, her attorney may try to petition again for a release. I don't know. But if you guys are expecting something to actually happen on December 23rd, nothing is going to happen on December 23rd as far as any decisions being made. So that's what you would call a status hearing because it's too close. It's too close. She just had her detention hearing, and then she got court again this month. That's not any critical decision being made. So, yeah, she's going to be in there for a while. Yeah. I know somebody right now that's still sitting in jail. They've been in jail for like 2 fucking years. In jail. And Cook County. Oh, I meant to show. So I posted something. Let me see if I can pull it up on my Facebook. Because I looked up what, let me see. I looked up, and if y'all, you know, here's the thing. Like, I know some people probably in the bushes like, well, Upper, how you know that? You don't know. How you know? Well, I mean, have I been wrong yet? Have I told y'all anything wrong yet? No, I haven't. Everything that I have said is going to happen has happened. So when December 23rd comes, if y'all are looking for her, the people in the bushes, if y'all are looking for her to be released on December 23rd, I'm just here to let y'all know she's not being released on December 23rd. She's not being released at all. At all. If y'all looking for anything big to happen on December 23rd, it's not happening. So then on December 23rd, I'm going to go live to confirm that what I said was true. Okay? Now, let's go to what I posted, because I wanted to show y'all what... Damn, did they take it off? I mean, I just think it's funny because when people try to challenge me, or if somebody says that whatever I'm saying is not true, or, you know, it's an opinion, and then it ends up happening, it's funny to me. So, for instance, I told y'all that initial incident report, eventually more evidence was going to end up coming out where everything on that incident report was going to be a polar opposite of what is shown. What happened? That happened, didn't it? Day before yesterday, I told y'all that she wasn't going to be released. Was she released? No. I told y'all she was going to be charged with first-degree murder in several videos. What was she charged with? First-degree murder. Now I'm telling y'all that she's going to prison, and she's not going to be released. And guess what's going to happen? She's going to go to prison. But let's pull this up. Let me show y'all something. Meanwhile, we got other people running around here selling y'all fairy tales and dreams and just saying anything that sounds good because they support Holly, and they're running around saying she's going to be released. She's not going to be charged. What she did wasn't against the law. Just anything because they just want Holly to be, because see, they say that about Romeca supporters. They say that we say whatever sounds good. Then how come whatever we say actually happens then? And everything that Holly supporters say doesn't happen. We still haven't seen anything that they've actually said actually happen. But anyway, let me show y'all where she is placed at in the jail. So Quadeja is placed. Did it pop up? Okay. She is placed on Division 8 in Cook County Jail on 27th in California. Oh, thank you, Simply Meek. I appreciate that. And then so Division 8 is it's a mental health unit, but it's also a hospital. So it's not for sure that she's there for mental health. But since they're saying that she's 7 weeks pregnant, they probably placed her on Division 8 because she can get prenatal care or whatever it is that she needs. And then a lot of people were asking why she was even in the hospital. Like, why did she go to the hospital once she got to the jail? Did something happen? But what procedure normally is when you are arrested, you get booked, you go into the jail, and you're being processed. One of the steps for women, the law says if you have a uterus, you are allowed to take a pregnancy test before. I don't know in anybody in any other states. So if I'm not speaking on no other states because I don't know it to be true. But in Illinois, if you have a uterus, you legally they have to offer you a pregnancy test. It's not mandatory. You can either agree to take the pregnancy test or you can refuse to take the pregnancy test. So it seems that she agreed to take the pregnancy test. So if anybody is wondering why she even was tested for pregnancy, that's the reason. Because it's mandatory to ask during processing if she would like to take a pregnancy test. That is mandatory in the state of Illinois. So that's why she took a pregnancy test. So she probably didn't know that she was pregnant. But the fact that she agreed to take one shows that she probably thought she could be pregnant, because 7 weeks is pretty early on. Most people find out that they're pregnant like around 12 weeks. Only time maybe you may find out sooner is if you're literally you're trying to get pregnant. You know what I mean? And constantly testing yourself or something like that. But that's pretty early on. She probably didn't know that she was pregnant. Oh, and for the people thinking that because she's pregnant, that's going to have an effect on the case, her being 7 weeks pregnant does not mean anything. This incident happened September 8th. If she's 7 weeks pregnant, y'all, that means that the sperm was still swimming towards the egg on the day of the murder. She was barely pregnant. Not only that, but she didn't even know she was pregnant. If she was pregnant on the day of the murder, she didn't know. So the fact that she didn't know means that Romeca didn't know. It means that nobody knew, meaning that it's not a factor. Nobody knew. So I don't understand why people are even like, so what? She's 7 weeks pregnant. So what? She's not getting out of jail because she's pregnant. People give birth and they so cold out here. They will have you give birth while incarcerated. They're not gonna let you out because you're pregnant. You think they care that you're pregnant? You're gonna have your baby in jail. They're gonna take your baby immediately, and they're gonna give it to a family member. They're gonna give it to a family member, or they're gonna give it to, if ain't no family member willing to take the baby, then they're gonna give it to the state. That's how that go. You fucked your life up, girl. Congratulations. See, you thought you were gonna take somebody's life away, and you thought you were gonna take a mother away from a child's mother away from them, and now look at you. And you think that we care? I have no sympathy for her at all. I don't give a fuck less about her being bullied online. She murdered somebody. She took a mother away from a 7-year-old, a 6 at the time year-old child. He will never see his mom again. To this day, he still asks where his mother is. He breaks down and cries in the middle of the night. He cries because he misses his mother. That's a pain that I wouldn't wish on anybody, especially not a 7-year-old child. So you took a 7-year-old child's mother away from him. Took her away. And then you carried on with your life after that. After that, you carried on with your life. And you were taking pictures in matching Carhartt jumpsuits. And taking pictures of dates. And taking videos and shorts of you going on Longhorn Steakhouse. Living life like you just did not affect somebody's whole world. And you really thought that God was going to let you get away with that? And to y'all that support Holly, y'all really thought that the Lord, if y'all are believers, y'all thought she was about to get away with that? But see, God is a comedian. See, God got a sense of humor, because the same thing that you do to somebody else will be done to you in the same way. In the same way. So now you took somebody's mother away from them, and now your son don't have a mother. See, you see what you do to others will come back on you. It will come back on you. You were online bragging about how you couldn't wait to spend the holidays with your son a month after you just killed somebody's mama. And we supposed to care that you getting fucking bullied on. We don't give a fuck about you being bullied, bitch. I know I don't. I hope she's miserable in jail. I hope she hates the food. I hope that the mattress is so thin that her back hurts. I hope they don't have proper heating for that bitch. I hope that the showers don't work. I hope you got to shit in front of the guards. I hope it's horrible. I hope it's infested with rats and roaches up in that bitch. I'm happy you're spending Christmas in that motherfucker. I have no sympathy for her at all. I might have would have had sympathy for her had she not carried on the way that she did online. The way that she carried on, the way that she bragged, boasted, and rubbed it in people's faces that she was free after taking somebody's mama away. A week before that child's birthday, you killed his mother. And you had the audacity to get on this bitch posting your OnlyFans. Bitch, I hope you're miserable. I hope you're miserable. And Division 8 ain't no joke, baby. You in one of the worst parts of the jail, baby. Because you in the hospital, basically. They literally have medical mixed with mental health care. So she's literally in there with real crazy motherfuckers. You hear me? Just like her, real crazy motherfuckers. So she's in a very, very, very bad part of the jail. Yeah. I hope you wake up to a cockroach on your forehead, bitch. I don't know. I have no sympathy for you. And if anybody feels a way about what I'm saying, guess what? I don't care. I don't give a damn. Shit, fuck her. Shit. Get mad. Be mad. Oh my God, Upper, that is so insensitive. Why in the fuck would anybody be trying to tell me to be sensitive to a cold-blooded murderer? I feel great talking shit about a cold-blooded murderer. I don't feel bad at all talking shit about a cold-blooded murderer. I don't feel bad, not even a little bit. Fuck her. No sympathy for me. None. But I'm finna get off here, y'all. My phone ring. I got shit to do. I gotta go. I had a good time with y'all. I will be back. Y'all, hey, be prepared to be sick of me, okay? Because I'm gonna be here all weekend, live, on and off. So, I will be seeing you guys maybe later on tonight, maybe tomorrow. So, I'll be back. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of the next time that I go live. Thank you, everybody that donated to my channel with a super chat or a super sticker. I greatly appreciate you. And I will see you all soon. Peace.
Name is the upper echelon, she a debater, baby. She can give it to you straight, no chaser. She got the smarts, she got the heart, she got the confidence, baby, she the upper echelon. You know you intimidated, stupid can't play with smart. She got the smart, she got the heart, she got the confidence, baby, she the upper echelon. You know you intimidated. Stupid can't play with smart.